The treaty is set to bring greater certainty and freer movement of goods and people between Gibraltar, Spain and the wider EU Schengen zone. The agreement is expected to come into effect on the 10th of April, when the EU's entry-exit system will be introduced. At that point, a new customs union between Gibraltar and the EU will take effect, allowing goods produced in either territory to move freely between the two. Today's town hall-style meeting gave those most affected by the changes a chance to raise questions and seek clarity on what lies ahead.
Well, I think it's important that we understand that today I've addressed not just the traders this afternoon to a full house here at Grand Battery House, but also all officers in the Customs Department and all officers in the Borders and Coastguard Agency to explain both to Customs in relation to the importation of goods, Borders and Coastguard agents in respect of immigration, and to traders generally, how the treaty will change arrangements in relation to the operation of the Gibraltar economy. A lot of questions have been asked during the course of those three meetings, which have sought clarity on the general principles that we're setting out. The Chamber of Commerce has written in with a set of detailed technical questions, as has the Federation of Small Businesses. We're replying to those letters overnight so that they can share with their members the detail of those questions. And I don't detect serious concern going forward. I detect a thirst to understand the new technical arrangements that will be put in place, the new administrative procedures that will be put in place. And of course, all of this will be even clearer when people see the text of the treaty. And I want to be very clear about what's going to happen with the text of the treaty. It is very likely that before the government of Gibraltar is permitted to publish it, before the United Kingdom is free to publish it, or indeed the European Commission is free to publish it, it may be leaked. And we expect that leak could happen at any time, because once the European Commission sends the treaty text to all of the European capitals, it's really, the genie is out of the box. People will be able to read the leaked text without the government of Gibraltar being able to provide the text ourselves, because we are obviously bound as a government not to publish the text until it is agreed text, and it is not yet final agreed signed of text. But that text will contain all of the technical detail that we have been sharing orally today as we've been explaining new procedures to whether it's customs officers and BCA agents or traders generally in Gibraltar.
Before a question and answer session, the Attorney General went through a slide presentation containing some of the main points. Most goods will be imported or exported by land, with customs clearance to be carried out in designated customs offices situated within the EU, including in Algeciras and La Linea, with a new transit procedure opened for the movement of goods between the DCP and Gibraltar. A separate regime applies for non-EU goods.
I think they've been received well because the audience was very attentive, obviously. I put the slides on to help people go through the different aspects of the region, because they're very how goods get into Gibraltar, the taxation, the standards, and the market surveillance functions. So I thought it went generally well. I think we've disseminated a lot of information, maybe on an ad hoc basis before today. Today was the first time we put everything together. So yes, I'm very satisfied from how it went and from the feedback that I got afterwards.
One of the key differences is that import duties will cease to apply, replaced by the transaction tax. The starting rate is 15% in the first year, rising to 16% in year 2 and to 17% by the third year. Reduced rates apply to goods such as children's clothing and zero rates to items such as foodstuffs and pharmaceutical products. But goods imported from outside the EU may face customs duties at the border. I asked the Chief Minister whether local businesses can really expect a level playing field.
I think actually that the regime that will apply in Gibraltar will be very advantageous to traders in Gibraltar. That's why I say it will be beneficial. Although the headline rate will be higher, and indeed the cost of doing business in Gibraltar will be higher than it is today, because the import duties today are lower, the market will be bigger. The arrival of people to Gibraltar will potentially be much greater. And so the economies of scale will also likely be there for Gibraltar businesses, who will also have the opportunity to sell online into the single market subject to EU rules on online sales. We're going into a market that is currently 480 million people. Today, our market is 38,000 people and those who might arrive in Gibraltar. We think many more will arrive in Gibraltar, and that our traders and entrepreneurs will be able to sell to the new single market, which will be 480 million and 38,600 people in Gibraltar. So this creates opportunities. Gibraltar is not, by any stretch of the imagination, the place in the European Union where doing business is the most expensive. It's probably more expensive in places like Monaco and in other small enclaves than it is in Gibraltar on rent per square meter. Gibraltar is expensive, but it enjoys great other advantages, and we will be there to help businesses and to hold their hands through this transition to ensure that this is only a success and the beneficial arrangement that we have been seeking to negotiate. And the feeling in this room today is that, okay, this is a daunting new administrative process, but there is a very good reason for going through it, because there is a great and bigger market beyond this stretching pain that we're going to go through, and it's worth doing.
Importantly, the extra tax revenues will be poured back into making Gibraltar safer and more attractive.
Gibraltar is going to be beautified in its main street, in its casemates, in its entry points. We haven't carried out the works that we wanted to carry out to the Four Corners entry point, because we knew that there would come a moment where we would have a once-in-a-generation opportunity, not to do a patch-up job, as we've been encouraged by others to do, but to completely redraw what that looks like and to modernize it and to make the entrance into Gibraltar the new, dignified, proper, very British-feeling entrance into the British territory of Gibraltar, and to ensure that people understand that north of the runway and north of the tunnel, there will be live facial recognition, there will be a new police substation, there will be a BCA and Customs joint operating base with the police substation. That will make the entry into Gibraltar very controlled and very safe from a security point of view, even though physical barriers will disappear, and that there will likely also be CCTV in other areas of Gibraltar, also potentially with live facial recognition, although we have to consult on that, which will show traders that we're looking out for them too, and for the safety and security of all of Gibraltar, not just in the area north of the runway and of the tunnel.
It's a lot to take in, but the government has released a technical notice and an FAQ is in the pipeline.
We started replying to a lot of questions that the public made across the whole piece of the treaty. We put a pause on that because the text was not settled and things kept on changing. Now that the text is settled, then we are now going to answer those questions, and we're in addition going to prepare a question and answer document which will act as a roadmap to understanding the entire treaty. Hopefully we can do that quite soon, in the next couple of weeks or so.
With the clock ticking towards the 10th of April, it's all about digesting the details and preparing for the changes the treaty will bring.